you so much for coming out today on this fantastic Saturday morning. It's absolutely lovely to see you. I recognise many of you from previous years. My name is Cliff Caprani. I'm with an organisation called Citizens Against Port Expansion, and we also work with Roger Emsley and his group from APE, which stands for Against Port Expansion. One of the things that I think will help me to do a better job is to learn more about the birds and what they do. And so that's why we've asked Anne Murray to speak to us this morning, and she has very kindly said that yes, she would.
As you walked along here, I expect you're all familiar with the area, but in case you're not, this is the mouth of the south arm of the Fraser River. And the south arm of the Fraser River is brackish, but it is bringing an enormous flow of fresh water down into the estuary. And then over here we've got the Strait of Georgia, which is marine water. So what we have happening here is a mixing of fresh water and salt water. This is perfect for the growth of this biofilm. It's an international stopping point for migratory birds refueling on the Pacific Flyway. And it's been fairly recently discovered that the mud here is particularly rich in something which the birds need to fuel their journey. And that something is biofilm. But in spring, it has a lot of omega-3 fatty acids. And these omega-3 fatty acids fuel the birds for their long journey. You can imagine how much energy you need to fly all that way when you're only the weight of a granola bar. You know, these birds are tiny, and so they need to eat this biofilm at an enormous rate. But not only is it important for shorebirds, it actually fuels the whole food chain, because the biofilm also feeds things like the snails, the crabs, and the small invertebrates, which are then eaten by the fish and the larger shorebirds. So it's not just the peeps that are going to suffer if biofilm goes, it's going to be the whole food chain. The port expansion would take the causeway a whole lot longer out to sea. The port is claiming, well, it's going to be out in the water, it's not going to have an effect, but the whole dynamics of the water flow could well be affected. And it mustn't be allowed to happen because we've already lost a lot of birds in the Fraser Delta. The numbers of many species are much, much lower than they used to be. Some birds are still doing well, but it's generally the ones where there's been some attention paid to them. We're losing a lot of them that nobody's noticing. So it's really good. There's huge crowds come out to witness the shorebird migration and support these organizations that are saying, let's take care of our shorebirds. Oh, that's a good question. Somebody said, how long will they be here for? They only stop 2 or 3 days. They're in a hurry to get north. So the ones you see today will be different from the ones you see in a couple of days' time. So what we've got is thousands passing through every couple of days. And this is why it's difficult to tell how many there are in total, because it depends on how long they stay. There's probably at least 1 million passing through altogether. But, you know, some estimates have put it higher than that. So.
My name's Bernie Swenson-Smith, and this is the family farm that was expropriated on March the 15th, 1968. So this is my cousin farming it right now.
Please talk through that, because what you're saying is very interesting.
Right now this is expropriated land. We continue to pay the taxes, we continue to farm it, but the future we don't know. And this dike was put in, actually my grandfather actually put the dike that you're walking on right here. And then they updated it, and that dike over there. So I just wanted to
Thank you very much.
So I spoke to my friend Roger Emsley during the week, and I said, Roger, we're going to have the meeting, you're not going to be there. Is there anything that you want me to say? And well, Roger, you can never really stop him saying something. So yeah, so from the mouth of Roger Emsley, he said 4 things. First, it's incredibly important that we keep up the pressure on the federal government. The port hears but does not listen. But the feds, the new federal government, are committed to real change, so let's hold them to that. And let's remember, this time last year, the Harbour government was in power, and through the efforts of a lot of people around here today, we did a lot to unseat Miss Findlay. So, I mean, you know, change is possible if we are prepared to work together. So let's remember that. We have two local politicians who are obviously pretty motivated to actually try and take on the port. The member for Richmond, Joe Pescasolido, and also Carla Qualtrough, they've got a lot on their plate. I mean, Carla's got a huge portfolio, but so we need to support them, but we also need to push them. We need to get after them and hold their feet to the fire. They are our representatives. Let's make sure they work on our behalf. Point number 2, it's very likely that the assessment panel, the guys that will run the rule over Terminal 2, those 3 people will be appointed fairly soon. We need to, this is about the last chance we have to let people know how important this is, so we need to try and to get organised in some way, shape or form around that. 3, new research featuring comments and research done by the likes of Bob Elmer is demonstrating, as Anne said, that the biofilm here is absolutely unique and we cannot afford to lose it, so we need to work very hard to make sure that that does not happen. The business case for Terminal 2 seems to be slowly drizzling away. The reports for the first quarter of this year say the container volumes are down from the same time last year. So the port is continuing its trend of underperforming. So I'm going to wrap it up at that. Thank you all so much for coming out.